What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the shadow self and what shadow work actually is. According to Jungian philosophy, what the shadow self is basically the part of your psyche that you're unconscious of, right? So these are areas that you have suppressed, and it's not necessarily good or bad. It's just things that you're unaware of. Let's say you go to buy a house, right? But you only ever live on the first floor. What shadow work does is it attempts to basically like build a staircase that bridges the gap between the unconscious and the conscious. Unconscious being the second floor of the house that you've never explored, versus what you're used to, what's familiar, that first floor. So this is helpful in understanding, like what's the driving force behind my actions. So like, why do I feel this way when X happens? Or how come when my partner does this in the relationship, it makes me feel this way? So shadow work attempts to answer some of these questions as to, why you feel certain things that you do, triggers, things of that nature. So this whole video, honestly, I really just kind of like want to demystify shadow work, inner work, to not make it sound so like esoteric as if it's like reserved for like really spiritual people, because it's not. This is something that anybody can do, and I think it's very useful if you have any desire to grow in becoming just more aware of areas in your life that you feel blind to, or things that you feel that you need to unpack in your life. Shadow work can help fix that. So what makes up the actual shadow is those parts of yourself that you subconsciously reject.
Voila. Bon appetit.
Next time something happens in your life, that evokes this negative response, observe that inner dialogue that is taking place within your mind. I remember around like the 3rd, 4th month mark of my journey into personal development, this was in 2019, I noticed I started saying things that I had been saying things to myself for like the last, 5, 6, 7 years, like, oh, I'm an idiot, or God, I'm such a moron. Things like that, that just, you don't even really think about when you say, and it's really just kind of this nonchalant reaction to doing something stupid or forgetting something, whatever it is. But what I learned, is your words have a lot of power. The Bible says that out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. And so if you were to take the inner dialogue of your psyche and you were to transcribe that on a piece of paper, it's like, would that be a love poem to yourself, or would that be a barrage of swear words that are directed back at you? It's like if I were to take like a mental projector and just beam it through one ear, out the other, it's like, what would that portray on a movie screen? Would it be the Titanic? Would it be a love story of Romeo and Juliet? Or would it be something like Saw 4 or Night at the Museum? Basically what I'm trying to say is that your outer world is always reflective of your inner world, and whatever is going on in your mind is your reality. So it's like, can you really love who you are when your entire emotional disposition is made up of guilt and shame? Can you have 2 malnourished monkeys in a cage and only share one banana? Absolutely not, right? One of them is going to win this banana and the other one's going to be mauled violently to death. There's a tangible moment between the time that an actual negative event happens in your life and your emotional response to it, that if you observe it from a place of neutrality, you can actually short circuit the negative response. I remember in the fall of 2019, I had just gotten out of this serious relationship at the time, and all I knew was that I needed work done in my heart because I was really messed up in a lot of ways. And so I remember the day that I left that relationship, I met 2 sorority girls in a coffee shop, and then I had my friend Andre, who lived in California, and basically these were my friends for like 6 months. And all I did during this 6-month period was just basically try to improve myself in every way that I knew how. So the interesting was here I am living with my parents, just working kind of a basic normal job, and nothing materialized. I didn't really manifest anything. Like, Did I have money? No. Did I have a lot of relationships? No. Did I have good connections? Absolutely not. I had none of these things. Nothing in my life from a circumstantial point of view changed, but I was positioning myself to manifest better relationships, more opportunities, things like that. When you can see beyond what's in front of you, it doesn't matter how dark and disqualified and ugly that you feel inside. Shadow work gives you a sense of hope to overlook all of your areas of insufficiencies and your failures and places where you feel like you've fallen short. And it elevates you into a place of faith and hope. And I think, man, that is the strongest thing that a human being, in my opinion, can cultivate, is an ability to hold on hope and to realize that, yes, I'm messed up, and yes, I have trauma, and I'm aware of all these things in my heart and my life that are just awful to look at. But if you can approach those things with a place of grace instead of being fearful, I think the biggest reason we shy away from doing shadow work isn't necessarily that we don't really necessarily know how to improve ourselves or how to handle it. It's more out of just a fear of ourselves and a fear of what might come up and what we're going to uncover, and that's scary. But if you go in knowing that you're going to expect to dig up some stuff, it actually makes the process quite bearable, and in some ways it can be enjoyable because you know that at the end of it you're going to feel better. And this is ultimately the key to integration, right? I mean, to pretend as if we aren't all a little bit up is to deny the human experience. It's like the secret to self-improvement has less to do with improvement, and instead it's more of this back and forth tussle to demonstrate compassion to yourself in areas where you feel like you deserve it the least. And so consequently, I think taking action becomes much easier when you're already content and when you're already proud of this person that you are. Content, but of course, never satisfied. You're always growing. So anyways, guys, that's all I got. Again, this is just a very foundational understanding of shadow work. Obviously, we didn't go into it super in-depthly, but I hope you understand that this is good. This is for you. And thanks for watching.